Welcome back to OneStopTutorials.com. Alibaba here once again. How you doing, guys and girls? Right, I've had a question. I got an email from a called Simos, and what they did was they sent me this picture and they asked me to how can they make this picture lighter and how can they bring the color out in this picture. Okay, so I thought I'd do a quick tutorial just to show them how to do this. Okay, and the way we're going to do this today is we're going to use a palette called selective color, and the way we're going to do this is you could go to image, adjust, and here selective color, but what we're going to do is we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to go to our layers palette. Okay, let me just move this picture along, and at the moment this layer is locked, so I'm just going to double left click on that and hit OK to unlock the layer. And if you come down to here under the the adjustment, we did this before, under the adjustment layer, and you left click on that and you come up here to selective color. Okay, we're going to do this as a new layer just so we can come in and edit it at any time that we want. Okay, so the way this works is, and I need to explain this before we can start using it, is at the top here you have a drop down menu, and this allows you to focus on certain colors. So we could focus on the reds, the yellows, the greens, the cyans, the blues, the magentas, the whites, the neutrals, or the blacks. Okay, and each one of these, when you click on any one of these, you always have these general settings. Okay, now when you move the slider to the right, this adds a positive. Okay, you can notice it here, positive, and when we move the slider to the left, this adds a negative. Okay, now when you're on cyan, anytime that you move it positive, you're moving it cyan. You get in the color cyan. Now anytime you move it negative, you get in the color red. Okay, the next one is magenta. Anytime you move magenta positive, you get magenta, and anytime you move it to negative, you will get green. Okay, yellow, anytime you move it to yellow, move it up positive to yellow, you get yellow, and anytime you move it negative, you get blue. Okay, and then the black, anytime you move it positive is black, anytime you move it negative is white. Okay, so it's the same on them all. I just thought I'd explain that just so you sort of understand what's going. If you didn't get that, just go back, maybe write it down. It will make your life a lot easier. Now what we have here, I see a problem that this dress, this is the main thing in the object, to be honest, and it's this real dull blue. We need to adjust this blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the drop down menu and I'm going to choose cyans, which is the blue, the lighter blue, and we come into this, we have our settings here. So if we choose magenta, okay, and we move it up, notice what happens to the dress. You see it's moved from this dull look to this sort of darker look now. Okay, this nicer sort of brighter color. Okay, so we could play around with that setting, and also remembering that yellow negative makes blue. So again, we could play with this and you can start to see the blue really coming out. I mean, here it is at neutral and here it is bright at blue. Okay, so this is between these two, you could really come in. I mean, if you move it too much to the left, then that makes green, but you could come in and you could really brighten up this dress. Okay, so that's quite nice, and I think over here that's quite nice. So okay, so that's the blue. I also see a problem here that her face and her skin has, I would say, red and yellow. Okay, so let's come into the red. So we choose the red color, and you'll notice it all comes back. And if we come back to the blue again, the cyans, you'll notice that the settings are still there, so don't worry. So we're going to come into the red, and remembering that if we go minus cyan, that is red, so it's going to add more red. Okay, and then if we go the other way, it's going to make less red. Okay, you're going to see that the red's going. Now depending on the look, okay, we don't want it to be too red, otherwise she looks like she's been out in the sun too much, so we just want to add a little bit of minus cyan. Okay, now if we added some magenta, watch what happens. She now becomes like really sunburned, and she should probably be in a hospital. Okay, so we don't want to make her look so ill, so we're actually going to go minus, and I think we're going to add a little bit of green to her. Okay, again, not going too wild, otherwise she'll look like an alien. So from one extreme to the other. So I just want to make her, I just want to bring out a little bit of that red. We don't want to make it too bad. Okay, and then the yellow, well, I'm probably going to come into the yellow palette and adjust this, but we could come down You know, we could add more yellow, but as you see, it's not really looking good. So I'm actually going to leave that, and I'm going to come into the yellows. Okay, now we're in the yellows again. So we know that minus cyan is red, so we can actually dull out some of that red. You know, we can add a little bit more of that red. Okay, and we also want to bring out a bit of the yellow. So if we were to go up to the yellow, it'd be too yellow. But we want to move it down a bit just to get rid of that yellow in her hair. This is what it is at the moment. We can just bring it down to not make it that so dull. Okay, and again, we could just play with these settings, add in that extra little bit of red, and you can come out with the perfect look. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and I'm happy with that. Let's say at any point you wanted to come back in again and change that. Well, you could quite simply, this little icon here, double left click on it. This will bring up your palette, and the reason we used it this way is because you can now come back into any one of those, and there is your settings. So you can come in and adjust it once again. Very handy. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a curves, just a little bit of curves, just to give it a bit of light and bring out a bit of color. Okay, so I'm going to come down to the same adjustment fill, left click on that, and I'm going to choose curves. Okay, and this box will open up. We're going to have to do a whole tutorial on this because this is quite a vast thing, but in this tutorial I just wanted to show you that under channel you can change the brightness of different colors, and in this instance I want to change the brightness of the blue. I want to left click in the middle and just pull it up a little bit, not too much, just bringing it up, and you'll notice that it's giving that sort of bluey effect. If we were to go too wild, it would just lose its look, but just a little bit to bring out that dress, because this main image here is mostly blue. So I'm going to hit OK, and I think I'm going to come back into the selective color one more time, and under the let's say the yellows, I'm just going to add a bit of light. I'm just going to add, you know, not too much. We don't want to make it look too bad. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit of light under the yellow, just by moving it negative makes white. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to file revert, so I'm going to bring this image back to how it was a minute ago, and this is the original image. And then I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'm going to show you what our finished one is like. Look at that. That's I mean, this is far from perfect. By playing with those settings for a bit longer than 10 minutes, you could really get a good look. But this is what it's like now, and this is what it's like before. You see the dull blue, you see the red and the yellow all around her hair here. Watch her face. We've lightened that up. We could maybe put in a bit more red. This blue has definitely come out. I mean, look at it. Just look at it. I mean, the skin color. So that is how you would, in this instance, change the color of the dress. And well, not change the color, but brighten it up and brighten this whole image up just by using these two palettes, which are under the adjustments here. So selective color and curves. If you did it the other way, if you came to image, adjust, and chose selective color, the problem with that is that you wouldn't be able to come back later on and edit it at the same setting. So I like to do it this way. So this is just me quickly doing it. Obviously I would put a lot more time into it. I hope this has helped you, CMOS. This is for you. Just go into selective color and play around with these colors, especially the reds, especially the yellows, and especially the blues, and the rest you are probably alright with, and you will turn your image, okay, from something that looks like let me go back and revert it again one more time, something that looks like this where it's dull and has too much darkness, to something that looks like this where you've just brought that color out. Take it easy, guys and girls. Hope all's well your end. I'm sorry if you can hear that beeping again. That's those silly insects. They're just driving me nuts. I don't know. I'm going to have to get a blowpipe or something. So anyway, take it easy, and I shall catch you guys and girls at the next One Stop Tutorials. Laters.